Hallo, Mike und Paul. Wie geht es Ihnen?
My goodness, what did you just say?
We're doing this in English or German?
Let's do it in English.
Let's do it in... Yeah, that's probably a good call.
Paul, you were about to say German.
I was, but I couldn't contribute to the conversation then. I could dabble in a little bit of French, but no one wants to hear that.
I was in Europe last week, so I'm happy to be home with my buddies recording Making Chips.
Yeah, and we're doing something different today. We're broadcasting live.
Oh, shoot. Do I look okay?
So, yeah.
The editors need to get this all fixed. I should
You
put
did
pants
until
on.
you got up close to the camera.
Got to put my pants on.
Yeah. Yeah, so, we're live on, I think, X, LinkedIn, and Facebook.
Wow. It's a lot of pressure, guys. Hopefully I remember English.
Yeah.
I'm caught between languages right now.
Right. Yeah, so we were inspired by our guests to go live on X and then went live on the others. So, Zane, welcome to Making Chips.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's really a pleasure to be here.
I think the X crowd pretty well knows exactly who you are, but for everybody else and for the listeners that hear this in recording, let's give a little introduction on yourself.
For sure, yeah. So I'm Zane Hengsperger. I'm the founder and CEO of Knox Metals. Knox Metals is building the modern service center. So we're using AI, software, data, and automation all combined to hopefully supply every factory in America in less than 24 hours at a fair price. We believe if we can do that, then American manufacturing can move 5 times faster. And then we can make parts in America at a cheaper price that could compete with some of the overseas shops as well. So yeah, Knox Metals was really made. I come from machine shops, and Knox Metals was made for machine shops, for factories, and for Americans.
I love it.
Yeah, that was like really well said. He's got this German name, but the American flag and talking about our country. So remind me a little bit of my family.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
So Zane, tell us about your machine shop background, your roots.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of got lucky. I was born into it. So I was born in 99. My dad started a shop in 97, injection molding. So grew up launching rockets on the weekends. And then my first job, I think I was 14 years old, and I was scrubbing the floor, eventually worked the lathe, forklift, cut the grass, all that stuff. I almost took it for granted in a way. But yeah, that's really how I got into it. I mean, there's a longer story of how we got to Knox after that, but that is how I got into it.
Did your father or grandfather start the machine shop, or were they the founder of it?
Yeah, my father started it. Steve, one of my best friends, inspires me all the time and even has a lot of good advice for here around Knox.
Love that. That's awesome. Hey, everybody. You know everyone's pushing AI into quoting right now. And look, AI can be powerful, but in manufacturing, it can also be risky. If you don't know where your RFQs are going, who can access them, or how your data is being handled, that's a serious problem. And that's where we talk about secure AI. And that's where Paperless Parts stands out. Paperless Parts is built specifically for manufacturers. Their CMMC compliant platform uses secure AI to take the busy work off of your estimators, organizing RFQ packages, surfacing key details, and centralizing your entire quoting workflow so your team can focus on actually estimating. And when they say secure, they mean it. They maintain rigorous security standards, including a FedRAMP moderate equivalent security posture verified by a third-party assessment organization. It's built for shops preparing for CMMC Level 2. If you want the speed of AI without the risk, go to paperlessparts.com. That's paperlessparts.com. Quoting made simple, profitable, and powerful. All right, let's get into the long part of the story then. So you go from a shop procuring metal and shaping metal into machined parts to, hey, let's get on the supply side.
Yeah, so I guess, I didn't realize how much I learned at my dad's shop. But just some of the pace the guys would push you at, how to get things done quickly, how to do them right. I mean, I made a ton of mistakes. I still make mistakes, but it kind of set the baseline for how I kind of thought about things. But like I said earlier, I almost took manufacturing for granted. And I think that's something we should talk about, because I think a lot of people my age do take it for granted, the jobs it creates, the importance for a nation to build things. Anyways, I ended up going to school, the University of Michigan, worked at Uber for 3 months, started a software company, ran that for a bit. And then I was kind of like thinking like, you know, I read this book by Alex Karp called The Technological Republic. And it was how like, if you're going to build a company, maybe you should build something like important. Like you have these gambling apps and all this stuff. And it's like, well, maybe we should take what we have learned from software and apply it to manufacturing. I got really into this crowd on Twitter called reindustrialization. All these people building like modern machine shops like Hadrian or Atomic. And what I thought was like, well, we're like losing machine shops in a way just because like the demographic of people retiring in a way. And like we don't really have young people coming to the shops again. So my initial solution was, well, I'm going to go try to learn how to buy and sell these things and like kind of have a legacy plan for some of these owners. And ended up with actually even end up like buying a fab shop at one point. And then what I learned through like all this diligence process was like, wow, these guys spent a lot on metals. They're really important to their business. The lead times are long. There's no technology. So if you have these modern machine shops like a Hadrian or Atomic, you actually need like an equivalently like technologically advanced like service center to like supply the metals. So I was thinking about it for a bit, and then an investor reached out because I was talking about it online, and the rest was kind of history from there.
Yeah, talk for a second, because when I first started following you, were you doing like industrial shelving?
Yeah, so yeah, the rack business, Delta 70, still kicking. Actually, Delta's doing really well.
Oh, okay, good.
But yeah, I was GM there for a bit and part owner.
Okay, so you went from there, you saw this need, you jumped in. Now, I know you've had your struggles kind of getting rolling and getting access. I mean, you've talked a lot. I know you went pretty big viral on where you kind of opened the road for the world to see on the supply chain side of this. Talk a little bit about the difficulties of just getting started. And
yeah, I mean, what can I say? I mean, there is the challenge in this world of just like getting access to material and, who will sell to you. It's like, we have a lot of customers we want to help. Like a lot of our customers are like these modern machine shops that, kind of want to use our software and our services and like some of the automation we're thinking about. But at first we did struggle to buy from a lot of like the domestic mills or even some of the overseas mills. I mean, we've had a lot better time now, but there was sort of an issue that existed where some of these guys just won't sell to you. And meanwhile, mills in China, Asia, Russia, well, you send them the money now, it'll be there in 2 weeks. And, there's some reasons for that. The mills in America do have some capacity constraints, and there's still a lot I'm learning, but so far I feel like we've overcome most of those issues.
yeah, so you had some access problems. At the same time you were getting going here, you also got dropped with a bunch of tariff issues on your overseas, right?
Yeah.
I mean, perfect timing to start a business.
Yeah, it was good timing. Like, I think the team would say the same thing as me. Like, we cannot believe the amount of demand we've gotten, just like the amount of metal we're cutting. Like last week, there's like, our operations crew, there's 4 of us right now. It's going to grow in about 2 weeks, but I think we calculated it was about a 95-hour week for us. So catching up on sleep is kind of my priority tonight.
Yeah, sure.
Wow. And are you doing both extruded bar and plate products as well? I've seen you've shared some pictures sitting in front of like, I don't know, 2 foot thick by like 10 foot long chunks of metal. They're massive.
Yeah, so a lot of aluminum plate. That's like our main seller. We dabbled in steel tube, extruded bar, but the plate is actually, we had a meeting today actually that we're going to like mainly focus on aluminum plate. Like we'll offer it all eventually, but like what we kind of realize is like we can really dial in the software and the automation that we want to build to aluminum plate. And the goal is really like, how do you have all your materials sitting on a shelf and someone can go in, get a quote in 2 seconds, not wait for a email from a rep. So they go in, get their quote, they press buy. If it's in our inventory, the system knows what block to pull, puts it on the saw with a robot, cuts it to size, back on the shelf and ready to go. And that's not just to be fancy. That's because we really believe, again, Knox Metals was made for the American machine shop. We believe we can automate that, less injuries, less training, all this stuff, and that, you can get metals next day instead of waiting so long. So that's the idea.
I mean, I can tell you as someone that spends a lot of money on materials every year, that would be incredible. Because you're right, we wait. I mean, sometimes, some stuff, standard stuff, we can get quotes online from several sources. As soon as we get into something unique, you're talking at least a day. And then if you get into really unique or a custom shape or something like that, you may never get a response.
Yeah. And I guess like I'd argue, because I've used a lot of like the online portals and they're great. And like, someone who has a really good online portal is like Midwest Steel Supply. So that's like a competitor to us who I think that does really well on the software side. But like besides that, even if you can get an instant quote, like usually you're paying a premium for that instant quote. Whereas like what Knox Metals wants to do is like transparent pricing, a fair price, hopefully the lowest price, and then you're still getting it instantly. So yeah, that's the way we think about it.
Dude, I think it's so cool that you brought up like a competitor that you admire for something and shared that. A lot of people, I think that's something that's different with the younger generation entrepreneurs. They're they don't have sharp elbows and they can pull from things that they like. But as you're talking, I'm hearing your machine shop background, and I think that's a big part of how you got the empathy and that someone's got to do something. There's got to be a better way moment. But how did you get the education on like all the software side of it? It's usually totally different than running a machine shop, is having that kind of software background to be able to actually build out something that functions the way you want it to.
Sure, yeah. So I mean, I had the software business for a bit, which kind of I understood like product well, not as much like the actual engineering part of it.
What was the software business?
It helped, I guess, billboard companies sell more ads.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I guess the way I think about like, I don't know, one person can't build these tools. Like I always just say like probably more credit to my team here than me. Like we've just been able to hire like really good talent. So the way we think about it is like, how do we hire like people from industry and people not from industry? Like we want someone with like 20 years experience and like negative years of experience. Like how do we combine their worlds and like maybe they have really good software experience for them to like collide and like build something new. Like maybe it's a risk to not have like so much experience on the metal side for like some of our engineers, but like we believe in order to like actually kind of change this industry or like make a significant impact, like we just need to like really think differently about metals.
I really like that.
Yeah, that resonates with me. We're at ProShop, we very specifically target a certain number of our team, especially customer facing, like 50% or more have to be from the industry, right? We got to maintain those roots, that people that can talk shop all day long, and they just live and breathe it, and that's where they're from. But you need also some software chops to build great software and build good systems around software. So yeah, that's cool, Zane.
Thank you. Yeah, I know we're big believers in like vertical integration. So some of our like investors are people who like we're kind of going to invest. We're kind of like, hey, why don't you just like go sell this to other service centers? But like, we're almost big believers that if we can control the software and the metal at the same time, then we can just move faster. Also, Paul, on ProShop, one of our best customers, diehard fans of ProShop, they use it. So
right on.
Yeah.
Well, we should talk about an integration where they can buy metal right out of the ProShop interface.
Yeah, actually, we've had a lot of people suggest that. I would be super down to talk about it. It'd be cool.
Here's Paul hijacking another episode. He just does it every freaking time.
We're doing a deal.
I'll have my people talk to your people.
Yeah, the next part of our agenda is buying sawing machines from Nick's family. No, you mentioned risk, and I think it's important to point out that like that diversity is how you mitigate risk. If everyone is from the machine shop world and you don't have enough software chops, you're not going to be able to be sufficiently differentiated and unique. And I think that's something, kudos to you, Paul, and you, Zane, making sure you have that diversity of thought and that diversity of perspective as part of your team. I think that's super helpful. So often in this world, like everyone's just got the same path and they think the same way and they say the same things, they look the same and they act the same. And so I think that's actually a really great way to mitigate risk. And often people don't consider it like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's impacted us a ton. Like, I know some of the listeners to the show, like, are in machine shops. Like, one of the best things we've done, I just had this, like, bring someone in who's a really smart individual and, like, ask him or her, like, look at this problem from, like, a completely new lens and, like, use your knowledge in, like, either software, finance, whatever. Maybe it's even marketing and just, like, attack it. And, like, give them a few months to, like, find it out. And, like, I don't know, it's just a good way to learn something new.
Yeah, we've talked about, in the past too, that, I mean, like our manufacturing industry, I think as a whole is, in my experience, and I've been around a lot of industries, kind of the worst at and the example I always give is you take your best mill operator and you put them in charge of the shop. Well, they might not be a good manager, right? They're a great mill operator. And you just yanked them off the floor and expected them to manage everything. And they don't have that different perspective. They don't have that management skill to lead maybe an entire shop or an entire department or maybe even an entire company. And, so I mean, you getting out ahead of that, that's pretty incredible. I think a lot of people never break that cycle in this industry. I just think this industry has habitually just done that. That was whoever's been here the longest is the next man up, right? Like that was kind of the whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, another nice thing we do at Knox, and like, it's gone a long way, is like every single employee has ownership in the company. So like, just like this different sense of pride that we have, and like we're all really on like this mission together. And like I enjoy it just because like, yeah, I don't know, I just feel like we're more of a team that way.
That's awesome. Can you describe the team a little bit? Like how many team members are there? And I mean, we talked about the diversity of thought, but what's kind of the structure of the team looking like?
Yeah, so we're 8. We actually just had 2 accepted offers, so we'll be 10 in about 2 weeks here, and then hopefully hire 1 more software engineer, so then 11. But yeah, 8 right now. Yeah, a mix of software, sales, strategic sourcing, operations, and myself. It's actually like it's still a small team, but like one of our team members is really cool because they kind of come from like Tesla, American Axle, so they bring like that experience. And like 2 of the guys here like come from like the service center world, so it's really good to have their knowledge. And then one worked in injection molding with myself, and then the other is kind of just like not from industry and just smart people that hardworking that we wanted to bring on the team.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think about distribution and how important like a good digital experience, a digital customer experience or e-commerce is. And we're a 75-year-old company who's just now thinking about e-commerce. And it's funny to be in our meetings. It's like, well, what do we do? How do we get that? Whereas we could tell you anything about, work holding or cutting metal or anything like that. But it's like, we're starting from square one. It's really cool how you bring in all these different unique individuals who can bring some expertise that most people might not be familiar with.
Yeah. I mean, what's wild to me is like, I think not enough people look at something like a Xometry, like whatever opinion you have about it, is like those guys are software only and like they know how to sell metal and they sell a ton of it, or parts more so. The new type of buyer is getting younger and younger, and they like to buy online. It's something I believe you either have to adapt to or run the risk of like not being competitive in the future. So again, that being said, I know some machine shops that still do amazingly well, don't have any online ordering. I don't think that's for everyone. Like sometimes you have your core customers and stuff, but it's something that I don't think can be ignored. It's something we're leaning on too.
So Zane, when you were first conceiving of this, businesses take money to start. How did you mentioned investors, how did you go find them, pitch to them? What did that look like?
Yeah. So again, kind of got lucky. So I was tweeting about this online, talking about this idea and this problem. And I had an investor who actually, I guess, reached out to me. And it was actually Y Combinator. So they're like a startup investor in San Francisco. Some of the best people on earth really liked them. And they said, hey, like, we've seen you tweeting about this. You seem busy though. Like, do you know anyone else who might want to work on something? And I was like, well, I'd be like curious to like explore this with you guys. And they're like, okay, what is it? And I was like, I told them the idea, and they're like, wow, this is really cool. And 12 hours later, they decided to invest, and I had an option.
It was that fast?
Yeah. So we met one day on email. Next day we did the call, and it was a 20-minute call, and like I guess about an hour or two later, they made an offer, which was pretty wild. And I had to, if I accepted that offer, I had to fly to San Francisco the next day. So did that. And then the more investors just kind of came in, and I think they really bought into the mission of like, one, no one's thinking about this, but 2, it's actually like, I think one of the most important like companies for America. Because like, again, a lot of these people do care about reindustrialization. That's what Knox Metals is, a reindustrialization company. And if you want to reindustrialize America, you need American manufacturing to thrive. And like Knox Metals is an amazing bet on pulling a lever on all shops in America or all factories in America. So
I love it.
That's really how I guess I got the investors, but more so once YC was in, a lot of other folks reached out.
Sure. Yeah, you're gonna have a lot of You're gonna have a lot of follow along that.
Yeah, actually, I got my YC hat here, but it's pretty dirty.
That's sweet. Of course it is. You're reindustrializing. That's not a clean job. But I think one thing I just want to compliment you on is you're really great at explaining the mission of your business. Like you can't help but do it. And sometimes, like especially with technical companies, where you have like a technical founder, they just like get into the nuts and bolts of how this like sausage is made,
Yeah.
and they're not really good at making it appeal to just anyone who hears it. That's probably a big part of why those investors were so excited. But let's sit on that for a second, because I want to get into like what your emotions were like when you first start this conversation with Y Combinator and they're like, "Oh, do you know anyone else?" And then you're like, "Well, let's talk about it." And then 12 hours later they're like, "Here's a bunch of money, fly to San Francisco tomorrow." Like what was going on with you emotionally during that day?
As well, my answer was to YC. I was like, well, actually, I don't know anyone working on this, and like that's like why I tweet so much and talk so much about this, because like again, not to like beat a dead horse on our mission, but I actually do believe in this like country or at least like the West reindustrializing, and like there's just no one working on this. Like you got all these guys making like again gambling apps, or like even myself like working on trying to push more ads in the world. It's like, what are we doing here? But yeah, I think once I talked to YC, it was almost like, I guess it was a lot of emotions. It was a big decision for me, but like as soon as they offered it, I knew I had to say yes, because I had been thinking about this for so long.
That is so cool.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's people attacking different parts of it. There's obviously, we're doing a shop series here with, we have close to 20, people under 30 that have started machine shops, some of them in their teens, but no one on the metal supply side that certainly has come to the surface beyond you guys.
Well, those guys or gals starting shops are like so important for America. And like, I love that you guys are showcasing those stories, because like a lot of people are my age, like I'm 26, just aren't as lucky as I was, where their dad happened to have a machine shop, right? How else do you get exposed to this kind of thing? So you guys doing this series is important for the country, is important for our mission as well.
So if you know 10 more of you, then we'll be able to say 30 under 30.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's, and you drilled in on such a big problem. I mean, when we do talk to, when we talk to, whether it's someone under 30 or someone under 70, and we talk about what shops are struggling with, and I know I do, it's, it's always people first, right? And then how often do we hear people talk about supply chain? And when you talk about, I mean, I know just in our world, we can turn quotes fast if we can get material, we can get outside processing, those types of things done quick. We just, we talked with Phoenix Heat Treat about what they're doing much of what Zane's talking about, he is doing on the outside processing side of things. But you're right. I mean, that's right up there in the list of things that we struggle with as much as anything. And curing that problem, boy, that'll change the game for sure.
Yeah, and like I'm not one to say, hey, Knox Metals succeed, all of manufacturing will succeed, but like I do think it's required. I'm a big proponent of like, hey, we need someone working on mills. I think we need someone working on, like, there's another company working on like wire harnesses that go into like Tesla. Like if America's going to reindustrialize, you actually need someone working on like every single part of the supply chain. So you just need like a bunch of companies, and like I feel like there's a gap between like young people that I went to like college or high school with, and like just being exposed to this world and how important it is for our communities, our economy, and our like national security.
Well, I'd love to dig down that topic a little bit, because obviously, you had the benefit of having a dad that had a shop, so you kind of grew up with it. But the fact that when you were tweeting about this, that someone from Y Combinator saw it and reached out immediately, like that's a signal that, people that are not typically in precision manufacturing are listening or looking or thinking there's opportunities there. So there's that side of it, which is awesome. But from your perspective, there's always the conversation about there's not enough young people that even know what machining is or precision manufacturing is. How do we get more folks your age and younger to understand that this is the foundation of all other parts of our economy? Every sector relies on machine shops and metal suppliers to make all the things that make all the machines that make everything else possible.
Such a good question.
Yeah, how do we do that?
It's such a good question. I mean, I don't think there's one answer. I think the answer is money. And like, I hate saying that because like, I don't know if that's actually true for all folks, but like, if you want to do it at mass, you need to show people that like you can make a lot of money in this world, or else they're going to go into consulting or whatever, like sort of like AI thing. So like first and foremost, you have to show this like path to like either a long, successful career or like a lot of money. The thing that like has worked for us on the recruiting side is like mission alignment. So like kind of what you guys are doing, like telling people stories, like how do you actually like make people care about this? Actually, I have this book here. It's called the Technological Republic. It's about like why you should go work on things that like matter to the country, matter to your neighbors, matters to the economy, right? So I think there's got to be some mission alignment, and then I don't know. There's a few other things. Unfortunately, like some of the things aren't. I don't know. Like I think it has to be cool. I think it can't be like this unsexy thing. I think. Oh, actually, this is the one thing that I think is really important. There needs to be shown that there like is complex problems to solve. A lot of these engineers I meet get really excited about Knox or other companies, so they're like, oh, this is actually like a really hardcore engineering problem on like a software, hardware, and automation piece. So I think that attracts a lot of folks too. But just to wrap up this point, like Hadrian is doing a really good job of attracting young people into factories and showing what's cool again. So it's like hadrian.co if anyone wants to look into that. They're doing well.
Hey, if you're responsible for setting direction in your company, you already know manufacturing isn't standing still. From global trade and geopolitics to industrial AI and advanced automation, the forces reshaping our industry are accelerating, and they're redefining competitiveness and risk in real time. That's why MFG 2026 matters. March 10th through the 12th in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, industry leaders are coming together for high-level conversations designed specifically for executives who need to think several moves ahead. If you're driving growth and shaping strategy, this is the room you want to be in. To learn more, go to amtonline.org, navigate to events, and you'll find MFG 2026 there. It's time to lead with confidence. I just want to say to anyone, on the older side of our audience, I want you to hear what Zane just said, because there's this idea that the next generation or the younger people, they don't want to work hard. They want a, easy future. They don't want a big challenge. And what he uses to attract people to his business is a very complex challenge, a really difficult problem to solve. And I think,
and they're working 95 hours a week to do it.
Yeah,
they're willing to put in the work. It's just he has sold them on why and given them some ownership. And I mean, there's reasons that they're willing to do it. We've had great success with our younger group. I don't see the complaint of I don't want to work hard. I don't, that whole whatever
narrative that's out there, because it's definitely out there.
Yeah. I mean, we have a strong crew under the age of 35, I'd say. And they love to solve problems. They love to solve problems with, the things we're willing to invest in newer tech, right? Whether that's automation, whether that's, some of the software systems we have, stuff like that. They get super excited about it, and we're kicking them out of here at night.
Yeah, I think when I hear that, though, it's often like, well, they don't want to put the time in towards maybe like, for example, the traditional apprenticeship model where you just have to do the same thing for a certain amount of hours before you can move on to the next thing. Like, I don't think that would be attractive to Zane's target employee, because they want to push the pace and solve a really complex problem, not, open and close a door for 6 months and reload parts. They would never accept that job.
I think one of the things we miss so much in this discussion too of how do we attract younger people is we often are talking in the context of how do we attract younger people to the shop floor. And if we're going to grow the industrial base, we're going to have to do like Zane's done too, though, and say, no, there's opportunity in sales, there's opportunity in software and marketing. Like if you want to go into it, let's say college was the right thing for somebody. They went to college and they got a degree in marketing, right? There's they're looking at marketing agencies or whatever, or they're they aren't thinking, oh, I could go and do marketing in manufacturing, right?
That's such a good point.
And we're going to need accountants. Just go down the list, right?
Every single job there is almost.
Yeah. And I think we don't talk about that enough either. We don't talk about like there's place for all those more traditional careers, but in manufacturing, which will help then scale everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
100%.
So Zane, when you took on this challenge, it's no easy challenge. Like you didn't take a risk-averse career path.
No.
I'm sure not everything worked perfectly, right? So was there any like early strategic mistake or big hurdle or some financial decision that if I could go back and give someone else advice, the next entrepreneur who could be listening, like what was kind of one of your big like lumps you took and the lesson you learned from it?
Yeah. I don't know. We were in this weird situation where we were like, I don't want to say forced, but like very heavily encouraged to move fast. And I'd attribute a lot of our success to being able to move fast. That being said, when it comes time to like picking your location or your building, it makes a huge difference. So like your building is like a very key part of your operation. And like, if we had heat, that would help.
I was going to ask about your building, where it's this massive, I've seen the pictures you've shared. It's this massive old thing.
I'm in it right now. Actually, I'm technically on the shop floor. Just we put a portable trailer on it. It's in Detroit, like Detroit proper.
Okay.
It's pretty cool. I like it, and it works for us. It's like this old, huge building. We got like some space in it.
So cool.
And it doesn't have heat.
I love the way you said that. You're like, if we had heat, it would really.
Well, heat. I mean, like if we had, I guess, maybe a bit more smooth floors, stuff like this. I don't know. Like I grew up in a shop, and like these are not things I guess I thought about as much as I should. And like we rented in the summer, so it was pretty hot.
Just gotta harness that for the winter.
Yeah, I think like something else like we did is like was try to serve everyone, say yes to everything. Oh, we can get that done. Like we got this. We're gonna outwork everyone, right? And one of the decisions we made today was like, let's just offer aluminum plate and be masters of that. So, don't try to offer the whole product line, serve everyone. Like, find a niche at first and work your way up to that. Also, the second piece of that, I mean, I spoke this earlier. It's like much easier to like apply technology to like something less complex. So,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure.
So good. Yeah, that's like one of the most entrepreneurial things ever. Is like we can, but maybe the question is, should we?
Yeah,
because everyone can, but the should is where you really separate yourself. So great insight.
Thanks.
I'm curious to ask a little bit more about the relationship between the mills and you guys. So you said you've largely solved it. So do you, let's say now that you're focused exclusively on aluminum plate, it's like we need, X amount of plate from 1/2 inch up to whatever size, a foot. And we need to make sure we always have enough so we can fulfill our customers' orders. And so your customers are buying on call it the retail side through your website. And then you're issuing bigger orders to the mills to come back replenish your inventory. Is that how that's working? And what kind of turnaround times have you gotten? And I'm curious, like the huge, massive chunks of metal, like the one that was, it was your post about it was like, what does this thing weigh, or how big is it? Or it was very engaging. A lot of people are like,
no one guessed it.
No one guessed it properly. How do you even get a chunk of metal that size? And is that like your bread and butter, or you're dealing more with like the thin set, the smaller stuff?
Yeah, it's not our bread and butter. That's just fun to post about.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, you kind of nailed it. You almost explained it better than I would have. Like, you basically hold an inventory and you sell out of it, and then once it's running low, you restock it. That's like the very simple answer. Like, what we want to do at scale is like extremely different. Like, we want to use AI to predict like what inventory we should hold to when, and like when to buy more, and like that even comes down to like, should we buy specific custom sizes from like the mills? But our biggest issue is those mill lead times right now, right? So 8 to 12 weeks. I'm sure we don't get the best preferential treatment compared to some of the other players that have been around for over a century. But yeah, so that has been a challenge for us. But we've been placing orders constantly, and then there's actually like some friendlies in the field that you need a few plates here and there. Like, they'll sell it to you, and the lead time's 3 or 4 days then. So our real goal is like work with these friendlies as long as possible, hopefully forever. Like, I'm a big proponent of like having decades long relationships with people, but eventually just cycle the mill. But I mean, you'll never be able to have everything, right? So you got to have people that help you out, and then you got to return the favor to them in some way.
For sure. Yeah. So that I'm going to stick on that big chunk. So did someone say, hey, I got this big chunk, or why did you have that massive chunk of metal?
Yeah, I mean, that's actually not the biggest one we've ever got.
Oh, really?
But we needed that. We buy the big block, and then someone bought, like, we had to do 2 cuts on it, right? So off the width and off the length. So if you think about like, if this book's the block, like someone's really just buying like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, and they bought 2 of them. So yeah, we love when people do those. It's an excuse to go buy the block, right? Because then now we have the block. We already sold some of it, and then the rest now it's like the lead times like that because it's on our floor.
Mm-hmm.
So shameless plug for our newsletter. We have to make this image the like image of the newsletter when we share Zane's episode, because everyone's gonna be like, "What are we talking about here?" Or you could just go connect with Zane on LinkedIn.
Yeah, there's some pictures floating around.
Yeah,
it is a big block of aluminum for sure. And I think at one point you were offering the entire block for $70,000 or something, right?
We did. No one bought it.
No one jumped on that.
No, but
it's just like sitting in my driveway, and my wife is like, "What the hell?"
I think people that know us well know like we weren't trying to sell the block. It's more of like a marketing stunt here. But what we want to do eventually is like, so like, you guys obviously know this, like cast aluminum 5000 series plate. You can like, it's one of the only plates you can take like a thickness cut off of. Because if you're buying 6061, you want a 4-inch or a 5-inch, you can't cut a 5 to a 4. But in a cast plate, you can. So what we want to start doing is just buying 40 inchers. So like the ones you guys saw was like probably a 21 or 22. So we want to buy double that amount, throw it on our saw, and cut our own width, cut our own heights, our thicknesses there. So
okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is this a big bandsaw or a big radial type saw? I know.
All bandsaws. Yeah. There's like vertical, horizontal. I mean, I'm looking at it right now.
Wow.
Super cool.
That's massive.
So so you said nobody guessed the weight. Do you want to give it to us, or is it still a secret?
Oh, I don't know the exact. It was like 18,854 or something. So yeah, 18,000 pounds.
Wow.
That's a lot.
You must have big forklifts too.
Yeah, when we got the crane, we're trying to buy a big forklift right now. Our truck, like no one on it, like we're so new. We like desperately, like we don't have time, but like we're trying to get someone on our team to go get a CDL so we can buy a bigger truck, because we can only carry 10,000 pounds. Like that 18,000 pound block, we have to go hire someone to go ship it. I mean, we cut it to like whatever, even if it's 12,000 pounds, we still can't carry it, right? So
yeah, those are startup problems. Those are startup problems you're dealing with.
Yeah, but I mean, guys, I watched Zane over the last 3 or 4 days identify problems in logistics and and brokers, and next thing you know, he's gonna solve that one too. So
I'm not touching that. Just metal. I want to do this for the rest of my life.
So Zane, obviously, with your grandfather and your father having the manufacturing background and being entrepreneurial themselves, I'm sure that probably gave you a lot of confidence. And then, of course, hooking up with YC probably gives you a very good, sounding board. What other like mentors and influences have kind of pointed you in the direction you're going, and that you have this because you have an amazing confidence in what you're doing. And I would assume you've got people behind you that are giving you lots of great advice and things to think about and risks and all that type of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. My dad's a huge part of it. Talk to him a bunch, and it's funny. I almost can't get him out of here some days. I think because he sold his shop, and I think he likes coming here and checking things out, and he's a huge help. Like, he did an 8-hour drive for us yesterday, 4 hours one way, 4 hours back, just to do a delivery. And I was like, you did not have to do that. Like,
He sounds like an awesome guy, man.
yeah, just having people around you like that want to see you win is great. Otherwise, like, honestly, my team really inspires me. I feel like we've surrounded ourselves with like really smart people. So like, I look to our team for that. Most, or I guess all of our investors. There's like a few that really stand out. Like Greg Castle from Anorak Ventures is someone I really look up to because he's a guy that will, I guess, give me tough love and say, hey, like, never tell me what to do, but say, hey, I think like I should do it this way, that way. Otherwise, like Chris Power from Hadrian is someone I look up to. Aaron Soda from Atomic Industries, who is also an investor and also a customer, someone I look up to. I know there's a lot of really cool people. I'm probably missing 1,000 here, but yeah, I'd say like the support we've gotten is just really awesome, and we're super grateful.
So good. And for those that don't know, I just want to list a few of the Y Combinator companies. Like, I don't know if everyone is aware of how legit that incubator is, but you may have heard of a little company called Airbnb or Reddit or Instacart or Coinbase or DoorDash. But yeah, really, really impressive that they've now like kind of switched their focus a little bit, or maybe not switched, but broadened their focus to manufacturing as well.
I think it's really important to talk about. So like, yeah, YC, famous software investor, a few hardware companies here and there. Actually, I'm probably not giving them enough credit. They've had a pretty good hardware background too, but they recently made this push really hard towards reindustrialization. Literally, like, the word I won't stop saying here. And they want to see more reindustrialization companies. They just funded literally like one of the machine shops of the future, like Forge Automation, one of the fab shops of the future, RMFG, one of the injection mold shops of the future, Atomic Industries. And they want to fund more of them. So I believe it's a really good signal for people in manufacturing to like say, hey, like these guys who invest in Airbnb, Coinbase, all these huge software outcomes, like they see, if not the same, maybe larger outcomes within manufacturing in America specifically. So I just did like a video on their website about why someone should make like a modern metals mill, which I think is like a really big task. But like that's something they literally posted. We want to fund this.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. One of a shop that I know really well just recently got acquired by a $2 billion hedge fund that traditionally puts more of their investments in just more traditional markets and other types of businesses, but they're segmenting off a portion of that fund for metals manufacturing, and they bought a large machine shop and they're using that as the platform to buy a bunch more machine shops. So they're going all in on this sort of reindustrialization as well. And I just loved seeing pockets of this all over the place because there's this acknowledgement and recognition that we have lost industrialization through policy and over the last many decades, and companies just wanting to make more profit offshore and change their supply chain. But it's put our economy and our country in a pretty weak position, especially as geopolitical stuff gets a little more dicey out there. But yeah, it's encouraging to see people like you and others attacking it from all different angles.
Yeah, and Zane, if you have someone from Y Combinator who wants to talk about their perspective on reindustrialization, like I know I speak for me, Mike and Paul, we would love to have them on and get that perspective.
That wouldn't be interesting.
Yeah, no, never mind.
Yeah, that would be incredible.
Go ahead, Mike. You were going to say something.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah. I mean, I think we've talked about for a little while. There's going to be massive consolidation, right? You've got there's the silver tsunami we talk about. A lot of them will just go away. That capacity's and demand. The demand is going to have to go somewhere, so people are going to build capacity. There's small players like me. I've turned 6 shops into one in the last 8 years, right? And we know a handful of people doing like I'm doing. And then to some degree, not near the degree Zane's doing, because I'm not developing any technology, but using technology to consolidate and perform better. But yeah, seeing like a YC and some of these others playing that game, it's going to be pretty incredible to watch over the next 10, 15 years.
I think it's just getting started. Like we're super early to it. For your point, like yes, like I guess I'm a believer in two things. Like one, either you build 1,000 more factories or you build 100 and they're like super technologically enabled. I almost don't care which one you do.
Yeah.
But like,
as long as you can supply the metal.
yeah. Or like, I mean, I meant more from like, yeah, like a country, but yeah, sure. As long as I can supply the metal, I'm happy. But I guess, yes, the technology is important, but like my companies like yours are like equally, if not more important. You have all this tribal knowledge that you need to pass down. You need to like inspire the next generation. You need to keep making the parts and keep the customers happy that you've had for however long, right? So like, yes, technology is a good solution, but there's a lot of folks out there that just need to, maybe buy a CNC machine and start making some parts for a friend.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of this under 30 series has started, right? That's been that's how a lot of them have got going, and then it's growing and growing. And I mean, the stories so far have been remarkable.
Yeah, I mean, one of our customers, actually not a customer yet. We're just getting started with them, but this guy is like, I don't know what to do with my life, and I think he was, I don't even know how old he is, but he's like on the younger side, and he just bought a weld machine, started welding in his basement, and now he's got like over 150 employees. It's like 9 years later. I can't talk about some of his customers, but it's like mostly aerospace, and they're like, oh, it's just wicked. I'm like, this is literally all it is. People think too long about getting started on all this stuff. Just buy the weld machine, call some people, and start welding. It's like you'll figure it all out after.
Learn by doing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I like that's one of the things you do on X a lot is you're like, you can just buy a machine and make parts, or like it's okay. And the manufacturing X community is a ton of fun. I mean, because it's got a lot of the one, you guys call out bullshit. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that live, but I just did.
Elon's going to take you down.
Yeah. But there's also there's such a great, like, just do it, attitude. It's pretty inspiring. But speaking of age, you have a question. Has age been a problem for you at all? Like when you're looking at, when like you're dealing maybe with some of these larger customers or stuff like that, has it gotten in your way?
It's a good question. I'm sure it has.
Yeah.
Especially with some of our suppliers. And I could be totally wrong and just whatever, but I don't know. I think what we're doing is such a long game anyways. Like it's less about age, more about building trust. So we start now. The customers we want to work with are for the next 100 years. And hopefully when I'm like 30, 40, that trust is just built up. So I don't know if that's like a direct answer to your question, but.
No, it is. I've seen it just even in my own shop where, I've got some really superstar younger guys. I mean, your age, 25, 26, 27 years old. And, sometimes you get the seasoned machinists going, well, I mean, he doesn't know how to do that. Yeah, he doesn't, but guess what? He got it done. Like he did figure it out. He did go after it. So I was just curious if you've seen it, as the founder, like, and that would make sense from vendors, right? Like, and maybe that, I mean, I know there's lots of reasons. Maybe you struggled getting into some of the supply chain on that, but I mean, I guess I could see that on, like, oh, this guy's young. We'll see if he even makes it, type thing.
I like the connection you made between age and trust, though, because like it's really about trust, and the only reason age would come into it is because, have they had enough experience or had enough lumps, like we talked about earlier, to like really make sure that they're credible. But if you can establish that trust, then the age part just goes away.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure, like now that I think about it a little more, age probably does play a factor. That being said, I think like it also is like somewhat of a bonus. Just like I don't think any of us walked into this saying, "Hey, we're like metal experts. We're like we know how to do it better than you." We just walked into it and basically said like, "Hey, we think we're good at technology. We're gonna work way harder than you, and like we're like so unbelievably passionate about our mission that we're gonna make it work. So
I love it. Yeah, you're going to do it differently than anyone too. Not just better, but differently. And I love that. So as we get closer to wrapping up here, I asked you earlier, like when you look back and reflect, is there any, failures you want to learn from or you want to share with the world? But what would you say your biggest win was so far? Like the oh my gosh, like this is that everyone's high-fiving in your small team and you're all sleeping with a big smile on your face that night. Do you have like one of those for us too?
yeah, I mean, there's been a few, just like some of the customer jobs we've landed. I don't know, it's weird. It's like we've just been like steadily stacking these like medium-sized wins and super consistent. And there's not really one thing. It's not like Knox Metals got like one sale that like accounts for like any more than like 10% of our revenue, or maybe one. But like I think what happens is more so like today we hit like one of our revenue goals that like we thought we'd hit in like 6 months from now, or at least that was the goal. And we started clapping where it's like this came out of nowhere. Like we didn't know what happened. So like I just pressed one button in Excel. We're like, oh wow, that's wild.
Yes.
Just because it's been going so fast. So like not one thing, no. Maybe one thing is like I loved that our instant quoter was live, and once it had lead times on it and like actually went into our inventory and knew exactly what block to pull. That was like a wow moment for us. And like I think we had a nice RFQ today and that came through there.
So in that case, it wasn't even the size of a deal. It was just that the software, the system is working.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't even know if we've had time to like celebrate as much as we should. I'm like super proud of our team and just like it's just a constant grind. It just keeps going.
Yeah, take the time to celebrate for sure.
Yeah.
But before we get too much further, I do actually want to have a question. So I know you want to supply shops all over, and you are, and you've got trucking issues you're dealing with, and all that type of stuff. Is your growth plan to stay right where you're at, or get more regional, so that you can do those next day, 2-day? What I mean, or maybe that's secret and you don't want to talk about it yet. But
no, I have no secrets. I mean, I always tell people they can ask me whatever they want. I mean, there's some stuff I can't like legally say, but I don't know. I guess I do know. We really want to open up in LA soon. Like the demand we get on the West Coast is crazy. Like we had a customer reach out to us that said they couldn't find 7075 in like 3 days in California. I was like, it's on my floor. I'll cut it for you and ship it in the morning. And we did that, and they were like stoked. So lots of demand in LA. Ideally, Knox has 6 giga-factories that are like super automated and can serve any 5-hour radius. That's the goal.
all right, yeah, that makes sense. And which I know 6 months ago we actually sent you guys a price request. I don't, for whatever reason, I don't know why we didn't do it, but after this call, I'm actually going to go meet with my estimating team and tell them to revisit. But so even like shipping to Oklahoma, I mean, you're competitive on price and delivery with maybe somebody I have more locally.
It depends. It really depends.
But you can be.
We can be for sure. And some of our biggest jobs have been out of state.
Okay. Yeah. No, I mean, that's good to know. I mean, I guess, I mean, what I hear there as an owner is like, we need to have you in the mix every time we're looking right now, just at aluminum, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. Aluminum plate.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the distance is probably our biggest challenge right now. Like you talked about some of those challenges, like how do we serve all customers, right? So that we do need to grow locations eventually. We want to do it fast. And again, how do we supply every factory in America? That's the goal.
You anticipate doing that maybe through some acquisition consolidation type stuff, or just grow your own everywhere?
We believe we want to grow our own just because the buildings are really custom, the automation's really custom, and like we feel like we're really good at acquiring like customers and talent anyways. So I know, I don't know, like I feel like we're just building an entirely different business. So like if we were to acquire something, it might not be a good fit for what we're working on.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Makes sense.
All right, shop owners, listen up here. I think all of us know we are in one of the most capital intensive businesses there is, and margins are tight, and we're always fighting issues. And then when we make money, what do we do with it? Stock market's up and down all over the place. Well, I get asked a lot about where can I invest my money? I'm a firm believer, as business owners, you've got to invest in yourself first. You need to reinvest capital into yourself. So the number one thing that I've done in this industry in investing was ProShop ERP. We've been using ProShop since 2018, and my payback literally was within weeks. With their per user based pricing, I knew when I made the decision I only needed to save my workers roughly 1 hour per month. We saw within the first week we were saving multiple hours per day. That type of ROI just doesn't come along very often. Outside of that, the real value has been able to quickly implement best practices across my entire shop from the time we get an order to the time we ship it, scaling my business with confidence, being able to go out and know that I can deliver on my promise to deliver quality parts to my customer, and then gaining insights into every job, employee, machine, and every process in our business to really drive efficiency and look for opportunities for improvement. That's where the real value in your business drives. So visit ProShopERP.com, book a demo, and start realizing ROI today. That's ProShopERP.com.
Well, awesome, Zane. If people want to learn more, if they want to try out your instant calculator, and where would they send them?
Yeah, knoxmetals.co, not .com. Follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram. If you ever have any questions, just email me directly at zane@knoxmetals.co. Answer any metal questions you have, see how we can help you out. Yeah, that's where to find us.
And Knox is Nox.
NOX, yeah, NOX.
My dog is Knox, but it's KNOX.
Okay, yeah, we get that a lot.
I wanted to clarify that for everybody.
Yeah.
There's some like little service center with like in Knoxville that's going to get all this business. You're going, dang it.
Yeah, someone should start that.
I just got the domain.
I just bought the domain.
Yeah. I was 1 second before Mike.
We can talk about a redirect later.
Yeah. That's going to be you talked about acquisitions, right? So
yeah, exactly. Hey, another thing we talked about, or you talked about, is just having people in your corner that want to see you win and add 3 more, and then the rest of the metalworking nation to that. Man, it's such an impressive story. And really, you're an impressive guy. That passion you talked about just radiates off of you, and we're honored to have you on and to share your story, even though it's just in the early chapters of it. I can't wait to see it unfold.
Yeah, we might have to do this as an annual update with Zane here or something, because I have a feeling it's going to be different 12 months from now.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for the kind words. Pleasure to meet you all. I will say, when I was like getting back into manufacturing, one of the first podcasts I turned on was making chips when I searched on Spotify, and I had to hear a lot of awesome stories. So like, love what you guys are working on, and it's really a pleasure to be on the show, share our story, and yeah, just rooting for you guys as well.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Well, Nick, what do you think? If you're not buying metals from Knox, you're not making chips. And if you're not making chips,
you're not making money.
Bam.